This week's episode of Kylie's Picks of the Week is brought to you by Xenomorphs! Completely copyright infringement free. Sometimes you just want to build a castle and knock it down. When you want to revisit those days of your childhood, take a look at Catapult Feud. Played this one with my daughter several times over the weekend, and it is an absolute blast. You're literally going to build up a castle out of these plastic blocks, and you've got a catapult. You'll attach a rubber band to it. You've got these boulders that you're going to fling at the opposing catapult, ultimately trying to knock down their people that are standing on the different parts of the castle. You knocked out all of their people, you win the game. Very simple, very straightforward, but the fun is you get to make the castle to your own specifications. There's a couple of small rules about how the blocks have to be placed, but otherwise you get to build the castle however you want it to look, arrange your little people on the castle however you want, and then throw boulders at each other. That's really all there is to the game. It's a ton of fun. There is a little bit of a gamey element. There's some cards that you can play. Every time you get one of your people knocked down, you get to draw a new card. And there's some fun stuff like getting to shoot your catapult twice, or my personal favorite, the traitor mechanic, where you get to use the opponent's catapult. You get to walk over to their side of the table or their side of the floor, turn their catapult around and shoot it right at their castle. Tons of fun. This is Catapult Feud. On the opposite end of the spectrum, I got a chance to play a behemoth of a game, and that is Nemesis. Nemesis, as you can probably see from the artwork, is basically Alien the board game. So this is a gigantic game where you wake up from cryosleep, from hibernation on your long haul spaceship. You and all the rest of the players have woken up. There's a dead body. One of the crew members has been ripped out of their hibernation chamber. Obviously something's going on. All sorts of malfunctionings happening on the ship. You have a little bit of amnesia, so you don't know exactly where all the different places on the ship are. You have to discover them. Each game they're in different locations. But you need to get the ship righted, make sure the engines are working, make sure it's headed to Earth, and get back to cryo sleep. Or you might jettison yourself out of an escape pod and you're good, you've survived, right? Of course, two things that are getting in your way. One, there are aliens walking around the ship and they definitely want to eat you, kill you, make sure that you do not win the game. And the other thing is you have a personal objective, something that you need to make sure happens in order to actually win the game if the ship safely jumps home or if you get out in an escape pod. You're dealt these at the beginning, and there may be things like the corporation wants you to dissect a few of these aliens, so you need to find some bodies and do some research on them. You may want to make sure the body of your dead teammate makes it home for a proper burial. You may want to make sure that one of your teammates doesn't actually make it home, so there's a bit of a traitor mechanic in the game. This was a ton of fun. It's a big, beefy game, bit of a rule set, about 2 to 3 hour playtime. But if you get into the narrative, if you get into the paranoia that this engenders, I had a blast with this game. Definitely take a look at Nemesis if you are into this kind of big, heavy narrative experience. Last up for this week, this is a new one, Mandala Stones. And I gotta say, this has the potential to be an Azul killer. And I don't say that lightly because Azul has been a very popular game. But this is a gorgeous game where thematically you are playing artists trying to make patterns with these mandala stones. But what you're going to do is put towers of stones on your personal player board. There's some mechanics of moving artists around, a little bit of strategy in how you're going to take stones and the order of the colors that you're going to stack them in. But you're going to be able to score, and each tower that you place on your board is going to score differently. So one of the towers scores, you're going to get a point for every tower on your board that's of a different height. So you want to have a lot of different height towers. Several of them score based on the height of the tower, but it's different. So one of them is 6 points if it's a four stone high tower, 4 points if it's a 3 stone high tower, 1 point for 2 and 1. Others are reversed. There's one of them that gives you 1 point if it's a really tall tower, but a lot of points if it's a small tower. You're also going to get points, one of them gives you points for the different colors that you have in that tower. So there's some really interesting strategy as you're choosing which one of these things to take, which of the colors to take on the main board, and place them on your player board. When you're going to score them, you score the same color at the same time. Also some bonus points. Whenever you do score a tower, you're going to take the top stone off of that tower, put it on this board here that's going to be the in-game timer tracker, but there's also bonus points there and some secret objectives you might have. This was loads of fun. It plays very quick. Turns just happen super fast. It was a half-an-hour game easily, and that was our first play. But I really liked the puzzly aspect, the way you had to think about moving things around the board to get the stones you want, deciding when to score. We're going to have this out on our demo tables. I highly recommend you come check out Mandala Stones, especially if you're a fan of things like Azul. This one is an absolute winner. Those are my picks for this week. I am Kylie at Games Unlimited, and as always, I hope you come down, take a look at some of these games, take one of them home, and unbox some fun.